Hi guys, it's me, Skylar Capri, and today we are going through the Bath & Body Works March release timelines and spoilers. We are already starting to get a lot of information about what we can expect in March, including a very exciting collaboration with Peeps, which we're going to break down the fragrance, the product types, and when you'll be able to purchase all in this video, alongside a bunch of other things, a possible wedding collection, more everyday luxuries. I love doing these videos, you guys love doing these videos, so if you're returning to my channel, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. We do all things body care on my channel, so if that sounds like something interesting to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's dive right on into the video. All right, you guys, I'm going to sit on this side of the screen and put some images up right here. Now, a majority of images should be sourced from Bath & Body Works. However, there may be a couple spoiler images which are sourced from Bath & Bucks. And as always, I will have the links to those sources in the description box down below for you guys to be able to check out. Now, if you're new to these videos, what I like to do is I like to look at the exact month in the previous year, see what all came out. It's almost like a refresher, and then I compare that to what we're already receiving news about coming out for this year. So it would be in March. I'm looking at March of 2025, comparing it to what we already know about March of 2026, then using some of those release timelines from the last year, kind of plugging them into this year to see, based off what we already know and what we already have available, do I think they're going to maybe replicate some of the same moves that they did last year? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with something we saw in very early March last year, and that was a round of everyday luxuries. Now, the everyday luxuries that came out in March of 2025 included 4 fragrances, and we had Imperfect Beauty, which was sweet rhubarb, white florals, and radiant cashmere, pistachio glaze, which was pistachio cream, toasted vanilla, and sugared patchouli. Both of those are 2 of my all-time favorite fragrances that Bath & Body Works has done. I honestly wish I would have bought more of both of them, but they have all been since discontinued since summer SAS of last year. We also had Strawberry Flirt, so that one had strawberry jam, vibrant poppy, and cotton candy musk. And then the last one as part of that quad is going to be All Eyes on Her, which had ripe blackberry, bold jasmine, and velvety sandalwood. Honestly, these did pretty well, and I think people really enjoy the Everyday Luxuries collection. Do I think that we could see maybe an everyday luxuries collection coming out in March this year? I think it's going to be tough. One, because we did just receive such a strong everyday luxuries collection at the tail end of January this year. We got 5 fragrances, so think things like Salted Shorelines, Love Unleashed, Eau de Coconut, Hello Happiness, Always Fleur, and then I think they brought back they repackaged Covered in Roses. So we did recently get an everyday luxuries type of collection. Could we expect to see one in March? Honestly, maybe. I think the Everyday Luxuries collection does really well, but given that we have the collaboration coming, they might be doing something more in-depth with Easter. They could be coming out with a new signature scent. We also have Tropical coming. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe they took a break from Everyday Luxuries and then released it in April if they were going to do a secondary collection. Now, one thing important to note about the Everyday Luxuries, though, is back when the January launch happened, so those 5 I mentioned for 2026, someone found a couple images of another fragrance that we didn't end up seeing come out with that Everyday Luxuries launch, and this one was called Wildflower Rush. Now, Wildflower Rush, we don't have any scent note information on it. Bath & Bucks did post this on January 26th, and it is in a green package. So I'm not sure if maybe something happened with this one, or they thought, okay, maybe let's just do 5 releases and then we'll re-release these, or like do another round in late March or late April. So very, very possible that we could see Everyday Luxuries coming soon. However, because the Peeps collaboration just got announced, I don't think we're going to see it very immediately. It could be definitely 2+ or a month plus weeks. Now, the next thing that we saw in March of 2025 was a new signature fragrance called Sweetest Song. Sweetest Song is still available, and that one has notes of blush raspberries, sugar crystals, and whipped musk. Could we be seeing a new signature scent for the springtime? I think we could. I think there's a couple different options we could see. I think we could see another gingham flanker. I did realize that recently they did kind of a repackaging of the ginghams. They also brought got a couple of them as online exclusives, so that could kind of be ramping up for a new Gingham. And usually people associate the Gingham collections with spring, so I could definitely see that happening. I could also definitely see them just doing a generic signature fragrance, maybe something that leans in that kind of floral family. A couple of years ago, we did have Brightest Blooms, which is honestly one of my favorites. I had it in the hand soap, and I thought the packaging on that one was just really pretty. But we've seen more of those singular drops really the last couple of years. So we've got things like Gingham Gold. Not Gingham Gold, Gingham Glow. We got things like A Touch of Gold. We got things like Chasing Fireflies, Sweetest Song. We got Vanilla Romance, those kind of standalone fragrances. So I wouldn't be surprised if we would see another standalone fragrance coming for March. However, again, with that Peeps collaboration, I don't think it's going to be immediate. And they also just had Tropicals launching. So there's a lot of moving parts right now. I think if we would see one for March, it would definitely be in the latter half of the month. Now, the other thing that we saw in March of 2025, which honestly, I feel like so many of you are going to be like, I completely missed that, as I almost completely missed that. And this was a wedding collection. Now, this is since discontinued, but this was the fragrance Always and Forever. Bath & Body Works has done kind of a spring bridal collection the last couple of years, give or take. We've had this Always and Forever. We've also had it dressed in white. And then we also had the men's collection kind of matching set. However, Always and Forever is since been discontinued. I think the last of this went in my store around summer SAS of 2025, so it didn't really last too long. And this one had notes of pearlized pink pepper, white roses, and sheer sandalwood. I don't really remember this one being anything super great. Honestly, I just got that strong kind of peppercorn fragrance with a rose background, which that entire scent story is just not really up my alley. I know some people enjoyed this fragrance, especially if they didn't want something super in your face, like super fruity or super gourmand or something like that. It was something different than what we were seeing in just the generic collections, or not the generic collections, but the generic like signature line. So I can understand maybe people appreciating that. But since we have a couple of rose fragrances out currently, we also have things like Inspire Love, which is that rose vanilla, which is kind of similar to this without that pink peppercorn. I don't think we're going to be seeing Always and Forever back. They really didn't market this one a lot last year. This one was just on a very like small side stand in my store. Would have totally missed it, like I mentioned earlier. So do I think we could see a wedding collection coming in March? Maybe. I think it's unlikely because they didn't really market their last one, and that's going to be a much nicher audience. And if you're doing something a little bit more widespread, not everyone would be interested in kind of a bridal themed collection. Now, what I was saying about the signature fragrance, could they come out with a new signature fragrance that maybe invokes some type of bridal vibe? Maybe it has more white packaging or kind of a floral base or floral design. Absolutely. I just don't know if they would do an entire wedding collection, considering not really the big success of Always and Forever last year. Now, the last thing in March of 2025 that definitely has a direct correlation to this year is going to be the Tropical collection. So the Tropical collection did launch last March, and we got things like Costa Rica Pink Pineapple Sunrise, Waikiki Beach Coconut, Bahamas Passion Fruit and Banana Flower, and then Thailand Sweet Kiwi and Starfruit. We've already seen the return of the Tropical collection for this year. Now, Tropicals this year, we have, of course, our returning fragrances, Costa Rica Pink Pineapple Sunrise and Waikiki Beach Coconut, as both in-store and online. The last one that's returning, but will be returning as an online exclusive, is going to be that Bahamas Passion Fruit and Banana Flower, and all three of those are currently available now. We are not going to be seeing Thailand Sweet Kiwi and Starfruit returning. However, we have gotten two new fragrances. We have Viva Brazil, which is the guava and passion fruit fragrance. I think that one is like fresh guava, maracuja zest, and coconut water. And then we also have Dreaming in Rio, which is the banana fragrance, which I still have yet to smell. My store, I just haven't been in there in a while. So when I say in a while, I mean like a week. But I think I definitely want to get in store this weekend and maybe give it a smell so I can get a review up for you guys. But that is going to be the Tropical collection. So definitely correlation between last March and this March. Now, some of the new things that we could be seeing for March this year, and honestly the most notable one, is going to be that Peeps collaboration. I've been teasing out throughout this entire video. I will put some images on the screen right now from the Bath & Body Works Instagram account in all things Peeps collaboration. Now this one says it's going to be online only on March 1st, so it will be launching very, very shortly. It will not be BOPIS eligible, and that is going to be a members exclusive. It costs you nothing to be a Bath & Body Works member. You just need to have a registered email that you're able to use to log into the website or shopping on your app. So it will be available on March 1st, but again, there's kind of that barrier. If you're not a member, free to sign up. You don't have to purchase anything per month. Highly recommend doing that if you are super interested in this collection and the accessories that go along with it. Now, the Peeps collaboration will be available and launching in store and online on March 2nd. So it's just going to be a very quick turnaround from the kind of initial drop to the launch in store. Now, this one, the fragrance that they will be coming out with, it looks like it's only going to be one fragrance. So very similar to the Sweethearts collaboration Forever Sweet that we got last year for Valentine's Day. Seems like we're getting one this year for Easter and springtime, and it will be called Peeping It Real. I think the name is cute, and I think the packaging is cute. Honestly, I think maybe I would have loved to see like 4 different fragrances in each of the iconic Peeps colors, like a yellow, a pink, a blue, and a purple. And maybe all like marshmallow variants, like the traditional marshmallow, like a strawberry marshmallow. I think maybe that's how I would have liked to see this. The Peeping It Real is cute, but it's not necessarily, I don't want to say elegant because it's Peeps. Peeps is a very fun, childish kind of candy, so I understand them really wanting to keep that brand, but as a consumer that appreciates a little bit different packaging, this isn't very Bath & Body Works packaging. This seems a little bit more drugstore for me. And like they did with the Forever Sweet, I feel like they could have applied that same kind of methodology to designing this packaging. Just my personal opinion. If you love the packaging, awesome. If you don't, that's fine as well. But again, it always matters what's actually inside the bottle. The packaging doesn't really matter at all. Now, in terms of what's inside the bottle, this one will have scent notes of marshmallow, sugar crystals, and whipped vanilla. So many people are really hoping this is going to be that ooey gooey sweet marshmallow without going overly artificial. Now, Bath & Body Works has done really a variety of marshmallow scents in the past. The only one that is currently available is going to be that Love Unleashed, which recently came out as part of those everyday luxuries that I just mentioned. Now, Love Unleashed, that one has scent notes. Of course, I didn't write them down. I guess I forgot. But Love Unleashed has scent notes. I think it's marshmallow, neroli, and then maybe like a floral undertone. So that one does have marshmallow in it, and it does give that sweet vibe. So something to keep in mind if you're on a low buy or a no buy. Do you really need 2 marshmallow fragrances? I'll leave that up to you, but I am excited about this Peeps collab. Like I said, other marshmallows we've gotten out have been the Marshmallow Pumpkin Latte, which didn't come back out last year for fall, but that's it's not a true marshmallow fragrance. Honestly, it just kind of smells like a Starbucks pumpkin spice latte, so we've gotten that one. We've gotten Bonfire Bash before, which has kind of that marshmallowy, smoky note in it, but it definitely does have a more smoky vibe, at least on me. So this Peeps collection is going to be super exciting, I think, for a lot of people, especially for the people that weren't a huge fan of the Disney Princesses collection, because it all leaned towards those fresh florals, and they really want something sweet and gooey and sticky and gourmand. I think they're definitely catering to both audiences and really what they have out in the floor right now. So I'm super excited to try that one. In terms of product type availability, it does look like we will be getting a variety of accessories as well as the traditional body care. So it looks like we'll be getting the fine fragrance mist, the body wash, the body cream, the shapeable soap, as well as I think that's it. Body cream, body wash, shapeable soap, the fine fragrance mist. I don't think we'll be getting the body lotion. I did recently see a video on TikTok about somebody opening a PR package, wasn't seeing any lotion. So not sure if that just wasn't included in the package and they'll have it in stores, but it does look like the product type variety is going to be fairly similar to the Forever Sweet collaboration that we got last year. So really March 2026, to recap it and my thoughts on what we're going to see, we're going to have this Peeps collaboration first. That's coming out around the same time that we saw Tropical launching kind of in-store and online. Do I think we could maybe see more everyday luxuries towards the end of the month? Absolutely. Do I also think we could maybe see a new signature fragrance towards the end of the month? Also, absolutely. That one could be a new fragrance. That could be a flanker fragrance of another fragrance we've had. That could be an expansion of the Gingham line. I think it's definitely probable and definitely possible. The other thing that we're probably going to see in March, which we have seen last year, are going to be those big sale days. So those kind of big body care sale days, those $5.95 sale weekends. That's also something that we typically see in March. So that is really your March recap, what we're kind of expecting in terms of release timelines and spoilers. Still a lot of unknown right now, but I think it's going to be a super exciting spring season. And then before you know it, we will already be talking about summer SAS, which is absolutely insane. But you guys, I hope you enjoyed this March kind of release timelines spoilers video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the Peeps collection, what you think about the Everyday Luxuries possibly making a rerun or rebooting for April. Are there any Everyday Luxuries you'd like to see back rather than new? Kind of what are your thoughts about the current spring lineup and what we're maybe hoping to see? But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, found it helpful, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye, guys.